Good morning, class. This is Dr. Mike Moran, your instructor for IT 140. Today I'm going to talk about nested Python for loops. So we had a student who had a question about how nested loops work in Python. So I came up with a simple example that was perfect for nested for loops. Let's talk about that. In this example, we have an employee who's paid $500 a week, 500 bucks. And they're paid on weekly on the 1st, the 8th, the 15th, and the 22nd. So we're keeping it simple. They're paid 4 times a month. What we have to do is print out the month, their weekly salary, their cumulative salary, and then we want to do this for every pay week for each month of the year. So, as always, think about the pseudocode, and I want a nested loop. So I want a loop within a loop, because that's what this example is for. So let's talk about that. How would this work in the pseudocode? So loop 1 is for every month of the year, print out the month. That's pretty simple. And then the nested portion, and we know it's nested because the indentation, this loop falls within the outer loop because it's indented. Remember, indentation is important in Python. So in our inner loop, we're going to say for each of the 4 pay days, the 1st, the 8th, 15th, and 22nd, we're going to print their weekly salary, 500 bucks, and we're going to add that to the cumulative total. So that seems pretty simple. So let's think about how we would do this in Python. So we have our outer loop. That's this first part. It's the shell. It will hold everything. It's the outer loop. And then this part is nested because it's the loop that's within the outer loop. So it's nested within. That's why you will hear the phrase nested loops, because one loop fits within the other. Okay, so now let's talk about that outer loop. For each month, we want to print the month. Well, that's pretty simple. For month, in our months list, here's a list of months. We just print out the name of the month, for loop. So for every item, every element in our months list, print out the name of that element. Got it. Next, let's look at the inner loop by itself. We have 4 pay dates per month, the 1st, 8th, 15th, and 22nd. The amount of pay is $500. How would this work? For each element of our paydays list, we want to add to our cumulative total their pay amount. So their amount's $500. Add that to the total. Total equals total plus the amount. Here's the shortcut for that, plus equals. And then we print out the payday itself. That'll be the 1st, 8th, 15th, or 22nd. And then we print out the amount of pay, and then the total. That's the cumulative total. And the output would look something like this. Every month we're going to do this, okay? So let's then nest these 2 loops. We're going to nest the inner loop within the outer loop. Here's the outer loop for every month in months. Print out the name of the month. And the inner loop, we're going to say for every day in our 4 paydays per month. Calculate the cumulative total, update accordingly. Print out the payday itself, 1, 8, 15, or 22. And then we print out the amount that was paid for that week plus the cumulative total. That is our nested loop structure. And example output would look like this. Note that the cumulative total keeps increasing because we said total equals total plus the pay amount. All right, so how would this look in Python if we were to run it? Let's take a look in Python. In this case, to this week, I'm using the Spider editor, but use the PyCharm editor if you like PyCharm. I'm exploring a new editor. I'm learning new things. So it's always easy to, if possible, when you're debugging this stuff, to try the loop individually, each element of the loop. So I'm going to do that in this case. I'm going to just look at the outer loop for month and months. Let's print that puppy out. Let's print out the month. Print the name, right, of the month. There we go. No surprise there. I'm printing month equals and then the name of the month. This is the element of my months list. This is my list of months right here. Okay, that works. let's now look at loop number 2, our inner loop. And in this case, we can, in fact, look at it individually by itself, which is great for debugging. Okay, it's easier to debug a loop by itself than a nested loop, because then you're trying to figure out where is there a problem. Well, we're going to debug it individually. And let's go ahead and we're going to run this, and I'm just going to go through the inner loop. So for every day, for every element in my paydays list, and we have 4 items here in our list, update our total, print out the day of pay, and then the amount and the cumulative total. Note that I'm using formatted print statements in Python, and this is the construct for how to do that. And note that for the amount, I'm using up to 2 decimal places of accuracy because we're dealing with currency, and that's important. Same thing with the total, that is the cumulative total. Let's run this and see what we get. Yep, no surprise. For the 4 pay dates in the month, 1st, 8th, 15th, and 22nd, the person got paid $500. The total is being updated. Yeah, there you go. Pretty simple. Now that we know that the individual loop components work, let's combine them into our nested loops example. Okay, so this is the same code as before, only now that inner loop is nested within the outer loop. So we print out the months, each month individually, and then for each month, we then do all this stuff inside it. So for January, we would then, for each of its paydays in January, update the total, print out the day of pay, the amount, and the cumulative total. All right, so by the end of the year, we should see $24,000. Because if this person's getting paid $2,000 a month, right? $2,000 a month, 12 months go by, that cumulative total should be 2,000 times 12, which is $24,000. Let's run this and see what we get. Bam, we got it. December, 24K total. Now for November, it was 2,000 less, the cumulative total. All the way back up to January. We started with our first pay date on January. This was their pay, and that was the total. By the 4th pay period in January, it went up. The total went up to $2,000. So this is working. So this is an example of a nested for loop in Python. We have a for loop within a for loop. That's it. I hope this helps out, guys. If you have any questions, of course, let me know. Good luck and have a great rest of your week.